So this is a Simadre 520d or ct520d, Japanese TIG, inverter, DC. It's also got a plasma cutter. There's a few things you could do to it to make it a lot better, so you don't have to switch out everything. And one of the things is to jump this to two other triggers, or 7 pins, one right there and one right there. I only use 2 wires, so there's no modulation on this. If you want to use a pedal, you have to use it on there. That's a trigger, that's a trigger. That's basically just cut into this with a Y, and then the power's in the front, so you can easily reach it. I do have a gas solenoid that I'm going to run, so I can run, I don't have to use a valve for either air or gas. Right now I just have to use a valve setup in the back. And then of course you just keep the trigger on there, and if you want to use a trigger, you could use a trigger. If you want to use a pedal, you could use a pedal. Pedal for obviously being on the table or somewhere where you can manage, and the trigger if you're laying down on your back underneath a car or a boat or something like that. But the machine's about 6-7 years old, and it's used a lot basically in my home garage. If I'm not at work, I use this, and that's it. The wiring, I won't have the diagram up. If you take it off and you can't figure it out, well, I mean, it's pretty easy. You just put one wire from pin 1 to pin 1 to pin 1, pin 2 to pin 2 to pin 2, and that's basically, you don't really need to see the wiring for that. And for the gas solenoid, you just put a Y in there and you run these in parallel with the gas solenoid that's currently run on it. And when you turn it on, it'll open up both gas solenoid valves. So if you're using a plasma cutter, you'll have your tank off. It'll open up that, but that doesn't really matter. Or if you're using your TIG welder, it'll open up the valve for the air input. But just keep the air off, and that's about it. But there's a lot of things you can do to this machine to make it a lot better. The MOSFETs haven't failed yet, and I really don't think they will. And all the machinery is pretty easy to use.